Well, hello there, my dear caregiving friends. I miss you. I sure wish we could be together. But I've been praying for you, asking God to give you guidance and strength and to help you through this time while we're apart. We can be together in our hearts, even though we are apart, far apart physically. We can be one spiritually, can't we? Hey, just wanted to touch base on a few quick things for this week. Um, your family sculpt and devotional, if you haven't done that, like you didn't do it in class or you haven't submitted your video, I want to encourage you to be thinking about that. Look at the deadline on it. It's coming down the way in just a little while, but it's okay to go ahead and put them in. You know, if you space these things out, you're not going to be jammed with a whole bunch of things all at the same time. The ones that just were posted recently are really good. I encourage you to go on there and comment on them, and also the devotionals that you'll see. That's exactly what I'm looking for. What you see there is what I really would love to see moving forward here. And if for each sculpt and each devotional, everybody's going to comment on 5 of them. All right. So yeah, there'll be, the whole rest of the semester to do that. But I really want to encourage you to keep looking on that. And if a family sculpt pops up, go ahead and comment on it early, and then you won't have to worry about trying to do 5 comments at the last minute. Also, in the prayer and encouragement thing, and that's this week again. And I just really want to encourage you guys to just to give it all, to really support each other, help each other. Be praying and thinking about what words could I say that would really be ministry caregiving to others in my class. What do I need? This is one way I find out. This is what I want to share with somebody is what do I need? And then I share with them what would be good for me. And so if it's good for you, it'll be good for other people. So check on that. And again, there are 2 responses for that. So once you share your thing, check a little bit later, or you can do it all at the same time. I put it all of that on Saturday rather than Thursday and Saturday. So that way you don't have to go back and make 2 different visits. But don't wait till the last second on that. And if you're the first one, you'll have to come back, I guess, and post when others post. I really hope some of you guys post earlier in the week. Want to take a look at the choice assignment. Look on your assignments and check that out just to make sure that you have that figured out, what you're going to do for that assignment, because that's coming up. And also your pastoral care reports. It changes things doing it this way because you can't really go visit sick people in the hospital and that kind of thing. But you might be able to make a phone call. In fact, today is a good day to reach out to somebody and call them, either your grandparents or others, and then ask, how are you doing? And do reflective listening like we talked about this last week. And you can do some of that, and that will really encourage them. So you be thinking creatively how you can finish out your pastoral care reports if you've not already done them. I think one person already turned them in. And if you get them done, go ahead and turn them in. The more you get done, the less you have to do at the end. All right, today we're going to be looking at navigating conflict. And I'm going to share my screen with you as soon as I figure that part out. Let's see, share screen. Oh, there we go. How about that? Navigating conflict. Do you like this guy? He's saying, really? You want me to do what? You're kidding me, right? That's kind of what he's saying. And she's saying that too. Can you talk some sense into him? And this is the issue, see, because a lot of times couples get stuck. They get stuck in a pattern of conflict. And this happens a lot. In fact, almost always when you're doing marriage counseling for somebody, it's about a conflict situation. Now, conflict arises in all relationships, though, not just marriage. In fact, it works, it shows up, it pops up with employees and employers and classmates and roommates and brothers and sisters. Maybe you're cooped up in your house with somebody and there's some conflict maybe that's even going on now. And there are major things that pop up, that continually pop up. We talked about some of those last time, and I really appreciated how you guys handled those things, that and Harley's Love Busters. But the four horsemen of the apocalypse: criticism, contempt, defensiveness, and stonewalling. Um, those things can really do some damage in a relationship, as people have a critical spirit, or they're looking down their nose, or they're scoffing, um, just no, getting all defensive and everything. And one thing that I want to mention about conflict is that insecurity and anxiety are the great amplifiers of conflict. Like, they take something that's little and it just blows up into something that's super big. I mean, it really does. It amplifies it, makes it like way bigger than it is. I don't recall if I told you this story or not, but once I walked into our office and there was a lady sitting there at a computer, and I said, "Marianne, how you doing?" I tapped her on the shoulder, and she like jumped up and down and started screaming and yelling and cussing and stuff. And what happened was, she had had surgery on her shoulder the day before, and I forgot all about that when I tapped her shoulder so gently. It just drove through the ceiling. And so here's the deal. See, when you hit a nerve, people tend to overreact. And insecurity and anxiety are like these raw nerves that when you just barely tap on it, it amplifies, it amps it up. And when insecurity and anxiety are there, then assumptions increase. Like a person says, "Well, I know what you mean. You mean this and this and this." And we read things into things. Um, Misunderstandings and their misalignments that happen, and people like misunderstand, and then people take that and they interpret that as disrespect, and everybody wants to be respected. And so, like, when it may not have even meant that at all, or maybe there's two different ways of doing something, but if one person is insecure or anxious, they interpret this disagreement as a disrespect, and it just amplifies the anxiety. Now, there's this guy named Thomas Kilman who did a really great job talking about conflict response patterns. I think maybe there might be an online kind of tool. I was going to actually give you an assessment to do in class. I can't do that with you physically, but I'm going to see if I can find that, and I'll stick it into the assignment. But basically, these are the responses: collaborating, competing, avoiding, accommodating, or compromising. And like, collaborating is, okay, we got to fix this. We're going to get a win-win. That's always best, to find a win-win. Look for the win-win first. If you can't find a win-win, then go to compromising. That would be, we both lose a little bit. We both win a little bit and we lose a little bit. And then the other three are kind of in the middle. These are not the best ones. Sometimes you have to do this, but it's not best. Competing is like, you just kind of duke it out until one of them finally, all right, okay, I give, uncle. Whoever's the best arguer usually wins that one. Avoiding is a very popular response. And avoiding is just not even talking about it, not dealing with it. You're in conflict, but you act like you're not in conflict, tiptoeing around the tulips, if you will. And then accommodating. Accommodating is like, well, okay, I'll do that for you, I guess, if I have to. And that's not really exactly an enthusiastic response. Now, these responses are based off of a couple of things. Either a person's assertiveness or their cooperativeness. All right. So, like, if you're highly assertive, and you're highly cooperative, then you're going to figure out the solution. You'll be a collaborative leader. You see that up in the far right-hand corner. If you are not assertive and you're not being cooperative, that ends up being avoidance, like you see in the low corner. You see that? If you're not being cooperative but you're highly assertive, that's competing. That's competing. You're going to push for your way to happen. And if you are low assertive but highly cooperative, you'll accommodate even if you don't really want to do it. And then right in the middle of all of that is the compromising, where you're minimally accepting. You find whatever the what do I say? The thing that we're all willing to tolerate, I guess, is what that would be, so that the relationship will remain undamaged. I want you to think about this, and in your response to me on this video, I want you to tell me, which style do you tend to do? Which style do you tend to do? And what about your parents? What style do your parents tend to do? Do you do the same thing or something different? And then, like, in your family, do you have like siblings? Do you have like a family member that's a little bit different than you in that? Or if you have a significant other, like a boyfriend, girlfriend, how does that work out in your relationship with your boyfriend and girlfriend or girlfriend? Are you more assertive? Are you more cooperative? Do you avoid? Do you tend to collaborate? Do you accommodate? Do you give in, let them have their way? Which one is which? Now, when you're in a state of conflict, one thing that might be helpful to discern is the intensity of the conflict. And there's this conflict intensity scale that falls off the log on either escaping or attacking. All right, there are escape responses and attack responses. You can see the escape responses on the left and the attack responses on the right. Now, and in the middle are what are called peacekeeping responses that tend towards either escape, or they tend more towards the attack side. So, like, when you're thinking about this, which one are you more like? Are you more of an attacker? Are you like a porcupine? You're gonna or are you like a turtle? You kind of hunker down and you wait till the storm is over. I want to know that. I want you to tell me that as well. Are you more of an escape responder or an attack responder? Now, an escape response, the ultimate escape response is suicide. People check out by actually killing themselves. The ultimate attack response is murder. And I hope you don't do either one of those. But sometimes it's stuff like assault, right? Like, this actually happened at a church board meeting where there was actually an assault. The police had to come and arrest a bunch of the board members because they actually physically got into an assault. I actually saw that happen in a marriage counseling thing one time. As the couple was coming into my office to see me, she was hitting him with her purse and he was slapping back and stuff. And they were actually literally assaulting each other while they're coming for marriage counseling. On the opposite side of that, you see denial. We don't have a problem. We don't have any issue. I don't see what the problem is. But there really is a problem. I saw this in an instance where this husband was saying that there was not a problem, and she was saying that there is a problem, and they were in the middle trying to negotiate. They came to me for mediation. Do you see that? Mediation is having somebody like a counselor or somebody trying to work it through. When you get to arbitration and accountability, that's when legal people get involved and all that kind of stuff. You want to kind of keep it over on the left-hand side of the gold, where there are some things that you want to just overlook. You want to have a goal of reconciling, maybe, if you possibly can, or at least negotiate something to work out an exit strategy or something and mediate that with a counselor. Sometimes that's the only way to do it. There was a young lady, the couple I was telling you about, they came in to see me, and she was from another country, and so they just had a baby and a 2-year-old, and she wanted out. He was abusive in the relationship, and she did not want their baby that they just had and their 2-year-old to have to suffer abuse at his hands like she had done, or that she had received. They came to see me, and I could just tell there was something wrong. She wanted out. She wanted out of the relationship, and he is on the denial side, saying, no, we don't have a problem. I don't see, you know what we need is a vacation. We need a vacation. She goes, I don't want a vacation. I don't want to take a vacation with you. And he's like, no, that's exactly what we need is a vacation. And he actually left our office with her. I sided with her in this thing. He left our office, and the next day there was a terrible accident, and she and the little baby died. It was a terrible automobile accident. She was thrown from the car, but I don't believe she was thrown from the car. I believe that he murdered her. I reported that to the highway patrol. They said there was not enough evidence, but it looked suspicious, but not enough evidence to convict him. Even though she was a member of my church, he chose not to have the funeral at our church or anything, and with total strangers did it, and didn't invite any of her friends or any of her family to come to the funeral service. Something was just really strange. He went from denial to murder. I believe with all my heart he murdered her and got away with it. He went from denial to murder overnight, an escape response to an attack response. And sometimes that happens where people go between the two. Now that's extreme, and that's, chances are like 99.9% you'll never have to deal with anything like that. But you see it, and it's real. I've done at least a half dozen murder funerals over the years, just because people could not handle the conflict intensity that they had. They couldn't keep it in the gold zone. All right, so let me give you just here are the responses. This is from a guy named George Bullard, and I think he's right on the money. And so like the level one is we just have a problem to solve. All right, so like okay, can you just change the toilet paper, please? Would you be willing to do that when you run out? Can you just change it out? That's a little problem. Oh, well, of course, yeah, sure, we can do that. I wish you'd come on time, honey, because when you come late home from work, then the dinner gets cold and it doesn't work. Okay, yeah, we can deal with that. So that's it. If there's a problem to solve, you bring it up and you can solve it, no problem. That's level one. Level two is disagreements. Like, I think this and you think this, and we don't agree with each other. And then you work it out, either that you both compromise and you both give a little bit, or one person says, okay, you know what, this is not worth the deal. In fact, if you look back over here to the far left of the gold, it says overlook. And sometimes the issue is just, you don't want to, yeah, I disagree with you, but I'm just going to overlook it. It's not a big deal. It's a bug on the windshield. To use my windshield wiper, I'm not going to make a big deal out of this. It's not worth it. Sometimes then it comes, the third level is contests, where it's either win or lose. And I'm going to do this, I'm going to make this thing happen. And then you have this issue, right? And you're trying to prove your point with an argument. You never win an argument. Like, I've never met anybody yet that's won an argument. You might get your point across, you might make more logical sense, the other person might give in, but you haven't really won the argument. You just won the contest because the other person doesn't want to have to deal with it anymore. And then level 4 is fight or flight. And this is where one person demands their way, that's the competition, and then the other person escapes, they shut down, they stonewall, and then that's the flight. And a lot of times this is where divorces happen, where one person's fighting all the time, demanding their own way, the other person shuts down. So the first person doesn't even realize they have a problem. They don't even think it's an issue until the other partner packs their bags and leaves one day. They fly. That's an ultimate fleeing, isn't it, from a relationship? They pack and they go. And then level 5 is an intractable situation where not only are you fight and flight, but you are seeking to destroy the other person. And so this happens in divorce court, where the person says, not only am I leaving you, but I'm going to take all your money and I'm going to destroy your livelihood, and I'm going to take you out. I'm going to destroy you on social media. And that's just like the worst possible situation. So what you want to try to do is keep it at level 1 and 2. If you can help the relationship get to level 1 and 2, then you're able to handle the situation. I mean, that's easily handled, right? It really is. Um, because like basically with levels 1 and 2, you're just getting to yes. You're just getting to yes. We can get to a yes. I mean, Kathy and I, we have all kinds of disagreements and we have problems to solve, but we get to yes. When it starts at 3 and 4, though, you have to get past no. You have to get past no. And then a level 5, you can't even get past no. I mean, that's just to survive, to protect yourself. Um, get past no. Like in level 5, I remember one time a guy came to me and said his wife had left him and she took all of their money, all the money out of the bank. It was in both of their names. She took it all and she disappeared. And like I said to him, man, what you want to do is like just stop all your credit cards right now. Stop them all. You're in an intractable situation right now. She is fled, but also it's intractable. So you need to do something about that. So thinking about this then on this problem to solve disagreement, let's say that it has moved into level 3 or 4. Oops, here we go. Level 3 or 4, it's a contest and a fight. And you don't want this to be an intractable situation. So how do you deal with that? So anxiety, or the level of anxiety is what it is. Conflict is not the issue, right? Conflict is an emotional state that we have because of a problem. The conflict is not the problem. The conflict becomes a problem. It can be a problem, but that's not the real issue. The conflict is not the issue. The conflict is the emotional state to the issue. And so, like, let's say that you're in a contest, an emotionally charged fight or flight, compete, we're going to fight to the death kind of issue, and you're having an argument with somebody, and it's emotionally laden and all charged up. And let's say a couple comes to you with that. How do you deal with it? And the way you deal with this thing is through understanding, by ramping them down out of the emotional state of conflict. And the way you ramp somebody down out of that anxious state, I put a state of anxiety, it's really the state of conflict and trying to solve the problem. The way you ramp it down is not through saying, be reasonable now. Let me just tell you, and you're not going to argue them out of that. Nobody has ever argued out of a state of anxiety and conflict. And nobody has problem solved out of that state of anxiety and conflict. The only way that you can help another person get out of the state of conflict and anxiety is understanding. It's understanding. Help like that they perceive that we really get it and we understand what they are feeling. Now you may disagree with that, but this is where reflective listening comes in. If you can say, I can see you're really upset. And the reason why you're upset, I think, is because of this. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. You see, and once you start reflective listening and you express your understanding and you put into words what they are feeling, then the anxiety and the emotional state of conflict starts ramping down, and then you're able to solve the problem. You're not going to solve the problem while they're all amped up, right? And so that's super, super, super significant. Now, let me give you, in just the last couple of minutes here together, things on forgiveness and reconciliation. A lot of times people struggle. They struggle with either making a good apology or extending forgiveness. And so, first of all, let me just say something about an apology. First is to be specific. Don't just say, sorry. You know, we used to do that with our kids. What do you say? What do you say? Sorry. They weren't sorry. They were just saying that because they didn't want to get into trouble. And they weren't specific about it. And you want to be specific. You don't just want to be vague about this. Sorry. I'm sorry for everything I did. No, be specific about what you did and own your own stuff. Don't say, I'm sorry you were hurt. I'm sorry you felt bad about it. Because that basically you're saying, well, I didn't do anything wrong, but I'm sorry you felt bad. So like basically, I am sorry that what I said caused pain to you. I can see that it was hurtful to you, and I apologize because I don't want to hurt you. See, that works a lot better because it says I did something. Now, let's say you didn't do anything wrong, but they took it that way. You still can own your own stuff that way. I'm sorry that what I said hurt you. Now, you might have been true about what you said, but you still could be sorry that what you said hurt them. So you can do that way. Own your own stuff. And this is not any time to blame them or anything like that. No, yeah, but, I am so sorry. But if you would, if you put a big but at the end of it, it negates the apology. So you want to make sure that you don't put a but at the end. You just say, I'm sorry, and leave it at that. Now, if there is a but issue, a big but thing you got to talk about, then talk about it later, but not when you're making your apology. You want to express that, keep that clean, and make it as simple and as clear as possible, owning as best that you can whatever you did to violate the relationship. On the other side of that is the forgiveness side. And I think one of the reasons why people have a hard time forgiving is because we think that what we mean, that it means that what you did is okay. It's excusing what they did. And maybe what the other person did is inexcusable. Or that people say forgive and forget. Well, sometimes you can't forget. Somebody did something really bad and you can't forget. And it's really wrong and you're not going to excuse it. But forgiveness is not excusing or forgetting. It's not letting them off the hook. It's letting yourself off the hook. When I forgive you, I'm letting me off the hook. Unforgiveness is drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die, right? So you want to let yourself off the hook by forgiving them. And let's say you can't. If let's say that you have this feeling of unforgiveness and bitterness in your heart, maybe you can pray a prayer like this: Lord, I am willing to, or I'm struggling with forgiving right now. Would you make me willing to be willing? Would you make me willing to forgive? And Lord, please do the forgiving through me. And when you pray that kind of a prayer, he would love to answer that prayer to do the forgiving through you. You can make a choice to forgive. The feelings of forgiveness come after the choice. Now, you might still have those feelings of pain or betrayal or rejection. And if that happens, that Corrie ten Boom says that's just a call to forgive all over again. She survived a concentration camp, and those thoughts came back over and over and over for her because they did terrible things to her. And she said, whenever that feeling came back, I just made a choice. I'm going to forgive all over again. It was a choice to forgive. And eventually the feelings of forgiveness followed the choice. When you genuinely forgive somebody, what you're saying is, I'm not going to bring it back to hurt you in the future. I'm not going to bring this back to you again. So if you forgive somebody, you're not going to like keep it in your stockpile and bring it back in the next story. But I remember you did that. No. If you've forgiven, you've stopped that. You put it aside. Now maybe you haven't forgotten it, but you're not going to use it as a weapon anymore. All right, that's what I have for you. And take a look at the assignment. There will be a few things in response to this. I hope this has been helpful for you. God bless you guys. As you continue on in your relationships, may you love well, because that's the mark of true spiritual maturity. As our friend Pete Scazzaro said, God bless you. Bye.